What is this?
Thing was done.
It was done, right? Useful idiots. Yuri Bezmenov, right? KGB defector. So apparently you can only say apparent quote unquote truth of what the person's role was doing until you defect. Well, you defect to what? To some place that can give you refuge, some false promise, protection, what? Asylum, refuge, shelter, or a new job. Who knew? But this person's talking truckloads of it.
Under the guidance of the Soviet embassy in Hanoi. And same thing I was doing in New Delhi. To my horror, I discovered that in the files where people were doomed to execution, there were names of pro-Soviet journalists with whom I was personally friendly.
Pro-Soviet?
Yes. They were idealistically minded leftists who made several visits to USSR. And yet, the KGB decided that come revolution or drastic changes in political structure of India, they will have to go.
Why is that?
Because they know too much. Simply because, you see, the useful idiots, the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system, when they get disillusioned, they become the worst enemies. That's why my KGB instructors specifically made a point, never bother with leftists. Forget about these political prostitutes. Aim higher. This was my instruction.
So he's calling them out. He's saying all the ideologues in the left, right? He's like, once they become disillusioned, you don't really want to deal with them because they'll just complain relentlessly. Is that it? And get the people to turn on the authority relentlessly. Become the rebel relentlessly, right? The Noam Chomskys and this and that and that and this and that and this and this and this, right? Because they give the counterfeit proverbs, right, of rehashed mysticism and this and that and this false promise, right, of betterment, right, by their own efforts of the collective. It's the vast masses that matter, not the individual. Bash. It's the people, common people, the power of the people. Wow. A person who rises in opposition or armed resistance against an establishment or government in rule. Whatever. An insurgent, a revolutionist, a mutineer, agitator, subservient, guerrilla, anarchist, terrorist. So all synonyms, anarchist, terrorist. So terrorists are actually just rebels, but they call them terrorists. Amazing. So they're at war against their own doctrine of revelry. Well, so they're just creating some rebels, and somehow the rebels are taking out themselves left and right. And the ultimate bully is the king rebel, Lord of the Flies. Rise in opposition or armed resistance to an establishment, government, or ruler. Revolt, mutiny, riot, rise up, rise like the ashes from the phoenix. The false promise, in defiance, in open resistance. To what? You say, oh, to man's tyranny. No. To God, to creation, to life, to truth. Exactly. And you love it. For in opposition, you then boast in the creation of relentless opportunity to bash and create your own image and how you're gonna take it to the next level. So what's he saying? He's saying, well, we wanted to, recruit the rebels and to push the cause, but then they were on the list to be executed.
Try to get into large circulation, established conservative media, filthy rich movie makers, intellectuals, so-called academic circles, cynical, egocentric people who can look into your eyes with angelic expression and tell you a lie. These are the most recruitable people who lack moral principles, who are either too greedy or too suffer from self-importance. They feel that they matter a lot.
Self motivated, self involved, worshippers of solipsism, of me, myself, and I, worshippers of the third eye. Who knew? And he grabs his glasses.
These are the people who KGB wanted very much to recruit.
But to eliminate the others, to execute the others, don't they serve some purpose? Wouldn't they be the ones
they,
you rely
they
on?
serve purpose only at the stage of destabilization of a nation. For example, your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion.
Wow, who knew that they're instrumental because they're agitators? They're agitators, right? Creating a blurred vision, a distortion that you can, it's easier to just come and just bash. It's easier to destroy within if there's agitation, right? If the water is boiling, it just dismantles all proteins, right? Denatures all proteins, right? Breaks it down, just turns it into mush. So what is he saying?
Only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be
right, so they thought they were working their butts off to just bring a new paradigm of what they were going to say was the new justice that was going to get dished out. But all while they were just being used. So who knew that every rebellion has always been used against man? Because sure, they'll let you have your little revolution. And then what? You think you're the rebel that's survived? That somehow there's no victor that's ever crushed you, and somehow you're just the rebel that just survived, and somehow you're just always against the power that always was. No, you're under the deception from living. The deception that leads you away from life. To be in a relentless state of disillusion, demoralization, bitterness, and what this guy's saying, greedy, blah, 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 blah. But it's not, the human state, the human condition to be greedy and then that people just take advantage of that. No. It's trusting in that the abuse has manifested people that are open, split, and easily taken under your wing to do your bidding, the light's bidding, to agitate and create a blurred distortion.
lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened.
Okay, so apparently all these leftists, blah, 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 right? They're useful, but then they're executed because they know too much. What do they know that apparently they're killed for? What are they talking about? Right? What ideology exists in the left that is, the antithesis to the Lenin Marxists, right? To just smash, but use them, but smash them. Exactly, just pitting them against one another because who knew if it's, righteous or not, as long as they're useful idiots. Because sure, pat them on the left or on the right. It doesn't matter. You're going to end up being bottlenecked to the slaughterhouse.
Happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist.
Exactly. So relentless murder is the name of the game to what? Create a new image of what the new paradigm of order is. Authority. systems, ordinances of man, right? Because what's ultimately the gain? Exactly, further enslavement of what? The stranglehold that they have on the image that you will fight for and die for. If the cause is just tweaked enough that you will get behind and rebel in alliance with and ultimately be crushed. It's the purge, right? Giving you some bash hope and rallying up the ones that are willing to fight, rallying them up, sending them to die. Okay, who's next? Soon enough, there will be none who rallied up and fought and died. Exactly, that's what happened. Leading up to World War I, in between the wars, blah blah blah, and now apparently, what? There's only rebel terrorists, radicals. This, all because they're gonna blast us with nukes. But no, all the other ways of the world aren't enough to show you how defiled you are. No, you're still waiting for something that will blast you into smithereens when you're already blasted and split into little teeny tiny pieces that you're trying to put back together by counseling and going to relentless cuddle puddles and this and that and that and this and this and nothing.
Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The moment they serve their purpose, all the useful idiots are either be executed entirely, all the idealistically minded Marxists, or exiled or put in prisons, like in Cuba.
Oh, exactly. So he's just dishing out, truckloads of words, right? But what is he saying?
Many former Marxists are in Cuba. I mean, in prison. So.
Oh, he's like, well, many of them are still in Cuba. He's like, in prison, in the respective countries, blah blah blah, right? Just like a lot of the Nazis went to Argentina and all South America and the United States to reinvent the same ideal that never died at the end of World War II. The same ideal, just it was part of the planned permission that they then dished out to you to live and sold it to you as, wow, you're in charge of your own future. No, they were steering it and you were following, all while thinking that it was your idea and you were shaping the new earth. Bashed. Useful idiot.
Most of the Indians who were cooperating with the Soviets, especially with our Department of Information of the USSR Embassy, were listed for execution. And when I discovered that fact, of course I was sick. I was mentally and physically sick.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase.
Ideological subversion. So he was sick, and that's what led him to defect. Or did he? No, he still worked for them, blah blah blah, and then he defected. And then when it became necessary for him to say these things, he came out and did it. He did the ritual of defecting and this and that and this and that, and now he's on television showing you. So he's on television showing you for a reason. This was put out there for a reason. It wasn't just an accident. And this guy's life, was it actually in danger? Who knows? But he still made that video. You know how many other videos, supposedly were made and never, saw the screen of the projection of the box that you call a TV? But this one did. Wow. And it shaped something, but now it's out, and wow, what are they saying?
That I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through their
Right. So all these, with the whole election of the last president, who gives a bash? But oh, there's conspiracy with the Russians, and that's a well. This goes back to World War I, World War II again. But you're blind, and this guy's telling you in his way, right? As a defector from the KGB, somehow he's telling you something, but no, no, no. He's just some bash, right? Yeah, just some bash. But what is he saying?
advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality,
Exactly, because through the 007 bash hood is how they sold the idea of wow, all these intelligences out there just keeping you safe, keeping the world from brink of disaster. So keep trusting us because we're keeping you safe and all this bash. And it's flashier. It's a guy that gets laid and just does whatever he wants, do as I willed. And who knew that he's right? It's a wet dream for Hollywood to just push out and then have people just worship that. All the while they're getting defiled and subverted right in front of them. Not through espionage, but through ideological subversion, complete demoralization, confusion, and theft of any notion of truth, any any association of orientation and direction, conscious, whatever, all while claiming to be right everlasting, expansive consciousness that shapeshifts according to our ascension and our worship of light. Yay! Smashed. And certainly void of truth. Theft of any notion of truth for trading it for some past relative, be grateful for whatever truth we are allowed to live, right? According to whatever past authority tells you. And you're not allowed to say these other things because they're not true. And we only worship man's truth, so don't speak about this or that truth. Otherwise, it's offensive and it hurts, and it's just not good for anyone, right? Says who? Uh, says the invisible hand that shapeth your butthole, and you just turn when it turns and bend when it says bend.
the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language.
Active measures, right? Action. What you think you're doing day in day out to try and bring about change. You think you're the change. Oh, you're the active component. Right, the relentless agitators, the ones who just create a blur.
Of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being
Right, so exposed to the right. So give me one generation, I'll pass you. Right, exactly. So I mean, 15 to 20 years, whatever it takes. But first, you gotta get rid of the parents' beliefs or just soften them. So first, you need to whitewash the parents' belief so that the parent doesn't have authority over their child's per se, or doesn't have jurisdiction over their children, so to speak, or they steal away the protective notion of the parent over the child, and the parent's like, okay, I'd rather have the state take care of my child. Yay, thank you, state. That way I can go out and live my own life. Whew, thank goodness. That child was such a burden. Right? Again, just lost, defiled. Right? So 15 to 20 years, first stage, demoralization, destruction of the family, right? Confusion of what you are, what it is that you're here to do. What is life? Exactly, confusion.
Being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students
At least
without
three.
being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism.
Or he says Americanism, but isn't it? I mean, doesn't any person, no, it doesn't matter where on the earth you are, doesn't every person, what, what, we're all living, aren't we? We're all supposedly sharing this life, or we're just in our own little rooms, right? Somehow not breathing the same air, somehow not drinking the same water, somehow not seeing the same things, right? We're all just relative bosh lost. But somehow we say, we can do it, guys. We just have to rally up the forces and fight against what? Who knows? But in rallying up the forces is the boast we need to just feel comfort and appease with what we're suffering. Yes, because we find refuge in our victimhood. Thank you.
The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck.
Exactly. So who knew that the Bash hippie movement was a subversion? A dynamic of subversion. Who knew? But this guy's gonna say, "Oh, is it KGB?" Who knew? Why would it have to be Russia against USA? Who gives a bash? For truly, the chink in your armor isn't some boundary of a country. And all of a sudden, if subversion comes to your country, all of a sudden, like, oh, it's me now. Wow, what a bash. Certainly, it comes to the protection that you seek refuge in. So if you seek refuge within the, boundaries of a bash country, you're doomed. For truly, the only refuge against the defiling ways of the world is the truth, the way, and the life. All of which, yes, has been revealed. Who knew that there walked a man who lived and spoke and did many works that just astounded people? Yet it wasn't just the works, but the word and the certainty and the peace it embodied and filled people with. For truly that is healing, that is renewal. And believing and obeying him. For it was undeniable and still is, but now it's just somehow murky. You're like, oh no, it was just some story that was, rehashed and bashed. And of course, that's what they're counting on. That's what deceit counts on, for you to be lost. No foundation to even grasp onto to save an ant. You're not even able to save an ant because now you're the judge of yourself, saying, oh, it's evil to kill even the littlest thing. Of course, yet you kill so many things by not doing anything, so to speak. You kill bacteria apparently relentlessly every time. You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, bash, bash, bash. All the little creatures that live on your skin, you kill, they die, bash, defilement. I mean, it's endless, right? And the little fractals of bash things that you believe. But even then, the hypocrisy is endless.
With them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern.
Exactly.
You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid of society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people.
So now, who knew, right? So there's been a string and a struggle, and they pitted against sides, blah blah. So they relentlessly pit against each other, and they're like, okay, let's see, let the best team win, right? And this and that and this and no, because it's this hollow debate, right? Because at that point, picking sides, right, and saying, oh, there's somebody subverting us, but we're allowing it somehow. Even though it's so obvious, we just allow it to happen. And you say, well, I'm going to go out there and fight it. Yay! Right? But who knew that this is all you're doing? Just getting punch drunk and punching others and fighting fire with fire. You think you're fighting fire with fire, blasting. No, you're killing each other. All because what? Who knew that you're exposed to what? Good, the knowledge of good and evil, but you're just getting smashed by it, right? For what? For truly it is what? Death. Surely it is death. To eat it, to feed off of that knowledge and call it life, is surely death. For life brings forth life. And the true promise is to live forever with the Creator. Who knew? As His children, who knew? Embrace it. Revel in it. Wow. In the infinite joy and peace that it surely is. But no, instead you're like, oh, I'm going to go in there and just smash, right? No, but you think you can change the knowledge of good and evil and just have it bend to your will? That's surely the lie. That is surely the lie. For it's not man's burden to even attempt to make that synthesis. It's the burden of the Creator. That's why you must give that suffrage, and say, Christ, wow, yes, I'm a fool to have thought that I am my own savior, that I'm here to just synthesize and be the path of righteousness in my own past relative truth and blah blah blah, do whatever I think makes me happy and this, nothing. Because in the end, right? Wow, there's been this mass succumbing to defilement, subversion, theft, deceiving, right? Conning, pitting against this dude against that. Turning people against each other.
People who've been programmed and, as you say, in place and who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept. These are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously.
Right? Exactly. So when they see in practice what they've been boasting and preaching all this time, thinking that it was some beautiful cause, when he says when they see what it actually means, they're shocked and they're like, what? And all of a sudden, what?
Obviously, they will revolt. They will be very unhappy, frustrated people.
Revolt.
And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not
Weren't
tolerate.
they already revolting? Exactly. So they were originally in revolt. They were agitating against their own government, creating a chink in the armor, and that's when, bash, they come in, and now that they see it in practice, they're like, wait a second, I'm going to revolt against you too. So the relentless rebel. So the leftist is the relentless rebel, right? Against what? Who knows? But they're just agitators. Posters of ideology of worshipping of the light somehow. Because isn't it those that stand with, the Lord, what? Stand to his right. And those to the left, Satan? Is that it? You say no. Right? Because truly, it is an allegiance that one actually ends up fulfilling in life. According to our worship. But no, apparently we just think we're fighting for some liberty, some freedom of oppression.
They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Lenin.
Exactly. So they have to eliminate any source of future dissonance. Let's do it.
America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand.
It's almost like he has this. Yes, he's agitated.
And it will be greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized...
Exactly. So who knew that it doesn't matter about, even when it comes to a sales pitch, right? It doesn't matter about the numbers, about the, savings. No. It's about the story associated with why this product is good and how it will change your life. Or how you somehow become a better person if you subscribe to this or that or this or this or that or that or that or this or this or that. All because they have now made it emotional. You now are invested emotionally in the only thing that you can identify because that is a state of being that you have believed yourself to be in, void of love, void of truth, and void of any sense of direction. Just going along with the pack and just led to the slaughter.
He is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures. Even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he's going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
Okay, who knew that a military boot is no longer necessary, for the boot has already been shoved way deep up there, that now the boot is just wiggling around and the person is puppeting and parroting out the will of the boots on the ground.
So basically America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of...
to turn the tide, right? So it's almost a struggle. He makes it seem so impossible. So exactly, why did that video come out when it did, when apparently it was already 25 years, too late? And already in a state that his best, authorities would have ever dreamt
of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
Look,
the next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis.
He's a brother.
You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things. Never mind. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government.
So who knows that he's explaining how to deceive a nation, and he calls it subversion, and they're all terms and terminologies that apparently are used by his affiliates and intelligence, blah blah blah. And who knew that, it's probably an ancient art of war and of, bashing in the worship of light. Right? Just rehash, repackage, and now this is the way. But ultimately, what is he saying? He's telling you something that's already in effect. So really, he's not really warning you. He's not really doing anything. He's just stating some obvious thing that you're living, and now it's up to you to either say, "Oh, nah," right, or actually use it to get more confused or angry or this or that. But ultimately, there's no solution, right, to this, right? Because what would be the solution, right? Be like, well, there's no such thing as bash country. Don't believe that your country's here to protect you. What? The only protection is the truth. Seek it within the Lord. Repent.
Washington, D.C.
Man's ways are wrong, right? And ultimately, this man knows because he was disillusioned by the ways of man, and he defected to a place where he felt safer, where he felt the ways of man there were somehow more in favor to him, to extend his apparent expiry date on earth.
With benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not.
Exactly.
He will go to
False
Moscow to kiss
promise.
the bottoms of new
And that's the whole thing. False promise of going to Mars, going to the moon, when apparently we've been there, but we'll go there again so we can learn again, and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. False promise. Relentless false promise.
generation of Soviet assassins. Never mind. He will create false illusions that the situation is under control. Situation is not under control. Situation is disgustingly out of control. Most of the American politicians, media, and educational system trains another generation of people who think they are living at a peacetime. False.
Exactly.
The United States is in the state of war. Undeclared total war against the basic principles and the foundations of this system. And the
right? So who knew that post-World War II smasheth? Even though America seemed to be, building itself up again and rising like the phoenix, right? Well, after losing all those men in war, bash, now they're dead. Now they have to just continue on. And exactly, they were still in an active state of war because now the real plan was in the fact full force. For the war was probably just to kill the opposition, to kill the man who would defend, in a sense, to protect and shield with truth. But somehow they were deceived to go and kill, not to stand with their families in truth, even when it meant probably losing and dying, right? No, it meant going out and killing. Well, fighting fire with fire, right? Punch drunk, right? They couldn't wait. They were just fighting fire with fire, whoa, and nothing. Exactly, Groundhog Day. But apparently this guy's saying, oh, exactly. They've been under attack, at war.
The initiator of this war is not Comrade Andropov, of course. It's the system, however ridiculous it may sound.
So who knew that, they called it fascism, communism, socialism, capitalism, it doesn't matter. Bashed. They're all pseudonyms. They're all sides to the same the same lie. They're all bash thing pointing to the same lie. But all the while it's deceiving all the parent nations that hide in name only as subscribers to whatever bash name they choose to say they identify. Oh, we're communists, we're socialists, we're a democracy, we're capitalists. Oh, we were a fascism, but then somehow we lost, but now our ideals continue. Right, because the ideals of the Nazis were already in place in the Americas, the genocide, right? Eugenics, the manipulation of the masses through the psychology and the manipulation of light. Who knew? And all the technologies that they were creating with, yes, the whispers of the worship and sacrifice of that were done in for the light, doing its bidding, receiving its channeling downloads and this and this. And the real society and this and that and this and that and that and this and that and this and that and that. So they themselves are the useful idiots, but they're supposedly the enlightened ones. They were the enlightened ones carrying out Lucifer's what will, bringing the nations to war. Who knew? For what? For man to be deceived by Satan after 1,000 years of being blasted and shunned, but now released to deceive man again for a little season, for a little while, whatever pash. So what is it that you see? Oh, you just see, oh, it's just man crushing man again. So we're being subverted. We must rise and revolt again. Wow, that's what apparently they want you to do.
The world communist system or the world communist conspiracy, whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot. If you are not scared by now, nothing can scare you. But you don't have to be paranoid about it. What actually happens now, that unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on unless the United States wake up. The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to. Unless you want to live in Antarctica with penguins. This is it.
Oh, he couldn't wait to say that. Unless you want to live in Antarctica with the penguins. He knows what's down there. So what's going on? Down there or what? Because what are the penguins if not the men in funny suits? In the black and white. The men that gather in secret. In dark places like the penguins. Who knew? But what's going on? He's like, don't be scared. There's no reason to be alarmed because well, I guess soon enough we won't be able to hide anywhere.
This is the last country of freedom and possibility.
Okay, so what do we do? What is your recommendation to the American people?
Well, the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, of course, there must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism, number one. Number two, to explain them the real danger of socialist, communist, whatever, welfare state, big brother government. If people will fail to grasp the impending danger of that development, nothing ever can help United States. You may kiss goodbye to your freedom, including freedoms to homosexuals, to prison inmate. All this freedom will vanish, evaporate in 5 seconds.
Freedom to choose your gender, freedom to gender equality, freedom of movement. Right? They're just bashing you. Reality, it's gonna be taken away from you. Who knew that it was already taken from you and you're just bashing each other now? And who knew that? Look.
But aside from that, when we talk about the concern of the environment as an elitist concern, 1 year ago, I was waitressing in a taco shop in downtown Manhattan. I just got health insurance for the first time a month ago.
Whoa, and there's penguins behind her too, and she's slowly becoming a penguin. Well, because of course she's a professional, right? Wrong female professional. Wow, just assimilating to conformity, and of course you'll say, "Oh, she's shamed into looking like that. A man shame her into looking like that. She does it for you." Otherwise, who knows what she'd probably show up naked because she'd be full, confident, liberated woman, right? Because she couldn't wait to just flash and have X's over her nipples and be like, yes, and then deliver the speech again.
This is not an elitist issue. This is a quality of life issue. You want to tell people...
A quality of life. Smashing her hands, right? She learned from Hitler. Amazing. Just wave your hand relentlessly with passion and say, "Nine! Who knows? Who knows? But look at her glasses are selling it. A little pen of just some sigil. Miss Ocasio-Cortez. Right? Picking up the torch for Gore. So, Cortez is now in session. Let's go.
People that their concern and their desire for clean air and clean water is elitist. Tell that to the kids in the South Bronx, which are suffering from the highest rates of childhood asthma in the country. Tell that to the...
Right. So, it's an elitist, request to want clean air and this. And she's like, tell that to all the suffrage. Tell that to all the people suffering. Tell it to them. There's people dying. Right? Just begging. And claiming for you. Pushing, just strumming your emotions, just slamming you emotionally against the void room that you think is somehow cushioned. No, but you're slammed in it. And you're like, oh, yes, stop it. Stop shaming me into feeling these. Okay, I'll back you. I'll support you because somehow I feel guilty. Guilty of what? What is she doing? What is she saying?
Families in Flint whose kids have their blood is ascending in lead.
Right. So why is there poison, right? Why was their water poisoned? Could it be that their own government did it to them? Could it be that their own people did it to them? Could it be that there's been an agenda to kill, steal, and destroy life? No. It's just that not enough people get behind these causes that apparently people just forgot that are important. Right? We want air. Wow, you're breathing. We want water. What? You don't have water? And we want just all the things that make amazing things. Go. So, somehow she's the ambassador for Gaia. And she's speaking for what is good for Gaia. Amazing. All the while, Gaia is bringing forth life relentlessly and probably doesn't even give a bash of what Cortez is saying. However, the Creator knoweth your heart, and knoweth how void it is in your state of false worship. Your false worship of boasting in some cause that you think you stand firm and you stand with boots firmly, firmly on the ground. You're not gonna move, and you're not gonna take no for an answer. And you have all these people losing their minds saying, yes, 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 yes. Why? More yes. Why? Right? And you say, this is the way to the future. This is the type of leader we need. Yes, 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 yes. Right? What did this guy call them? Useful idiots.
which we
But
call
who
either.
knows? That was just some Bosch KGB defector. Who knows? Who gives a Bosch, right? You'll say, no, this is real, right? Because who knew that she is saying something that has been going on for a while, for decades, right? But she's speaking as though somehow she's bringing it to the table somehow for the first time, right? The abuse and the defilement of life. But no, somehow it's just, wow, she's speaking truth all of a sudden. No. Just like this guy, right? He's saying, well, they're already 25 years ahead of the game. So again, telling you after the map, but somehow telling you some apparent truth. Same thing. This Bosch is telling you some apparent truth, but all what already happened and has been happening. So what are you saying? You're begging to live something that already happened and people are traumatized because of it. And yeah, now you're going to hide behind the so-called deaths that you're using to get people's what? Empath vote.
Levels, their brains are damaged for the rest of their lives. Call them elitist. You're telling them that those kids are trying to get on a plane to Davos?
Right, because what you push is big government and just big handouts. Somehow that's going to make the world a better place. Wow. Again, do you realize what you are asking for? No, she's like, well, of course, I'm calling for a better life. Right? Who knew that that's what every parent has said in the last few decades? Well, I just want a better life, and hopefully I give you one, sweetie. And this person's like, well, no, but thanks anyway. Oh, I'm just going to bash and yell and scream and hope people listen to me and get behind me emotionally, and then we can go out and smash and take the environment back. And then slash and burn it because we're on fire. We can go slash and burn and make fields for our relentless cattle to just graze and make hamburger meat to just refurbish our dead, dying parts, and just because that's what we are. We're all just hamburger meat, right? Yay!
Those people are dying. They are dying.
Well, people are dying, man. People are dying, don't you know? People are dying, don't you know? People are dying. Wow, look how foolish this person is. Hiding behind the rally against, wow, people are dying. Wow, like that card hasn't been used time and time again to evoke wars, to evoke some rash, bash, retaliation. This people are dying. Wow. Can you say something that is not the obvious? Oh no, we say with such passion and such waving of vigorous hands. And wow, it's just convincing. You're wearing some suit that somehow looks too big, but it's just confident. It's amazing. And you just have all the gizmos and gadgets of just luxury and elegance. Wow, you're just the idol. You're just the idol of the leadership that we need. Thank you.
And the response across the other side of the aisle is to introduce an amendment 5 minutes before a hearing in a markup. This is serious.
Wow, like it's the first time that somebody, was told somebody and then totally, sold under the bus in the 5 minutes leading up to the meeting. And she feels sold out. She feels, just bashed. She's like, oh, what? No. Like it's the first time that's ever happened in Bash Congress or Bash Senate or wherever the Bash she's doing, right? Like it's the first time somebody has been backstabbed and, just sold under the bus. So what are you saying? You're saying nothing. You're just making this rigorous ritual of emotion to rally up the forces. Yeah, who knew? You you're the Zach from Rage Against the Machine that gave voice to Bash, Noam Chomsky's, Bash philosophy and his idealism of bashness and bash, bash, bash. And you're the same now. You're the voice to the same Bash ideologues of Bash, some left, some Bash way. And not to say that the Bash political right is better or somehow, wow, they're the way. No. For truly it's just pitting yourself against each other to kill you off. And it's not for some other, power to come in and just rule it. No, it's to kill you off, kill humanity, kill life, right? That's the end game for Satan. He wants to laugh at how many souls he stole, even though life relentlessly brought them forth. But you don't see. You're like, meh, Satan, no Satan. I don't give a bash. I'm just going to go, and who cares if I die? Bash. Lost. Another one. Bing for Satan. Bing, 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 bing. Satan is getting pinged relentlessly. Who knew? Bing, 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 bing. Yet, the resolve is the rid of doubt. So even though Satan is getting all these bash souls that just defiled and resisted the whole way in rebellion, open defiance. Against what? Well, against this person will think that she's fighting some bash system that's patriarchal and that's just oppressive to minorities. Bash, that's why we need collectivism, equality, equity, this and that, just opportunity for everyone, equal pay, no matter what. That's it, blah, blah, blah. Just everything leveled to the ground. Level it all. Everyone must roll on the ground relentlessly, and that's equality, right? And you say, sign me on. But no political solution is the answer. No, organized, labor and action is the answer. For truly it comes down to what a man worships. What is the flesh here to worship? The environment. That's why I rally behind her whatever she says. Yay! For equal pay and rights. Yay! That's why I rally behind her. So all false promise of things that you already have. Wow. Who knew that you don't... Why do you have to beg for the right to live? Why do you have to beg for the right to know what's right? Why do you have to beg for others' recognition for you to worship in alignment to the ordinance of the Creator? Why is it that you have to beg to build a shelter for yourself and live, provide, work through your labors, the food, and whatever it is? For life bringeth forth and provideth, and the worship of the Lord revealeth, filleth with wisdom. And surely the Holy Spirit reneweth all. But no, you must have the earthly promises of glory and of clean air, of physical cleanness, of physical purity, of this and that and this and that, this and that and that, because you feel void and feel impure, unclean, in shame. But who knew that the virtue is in a holy ritual, a holy what? Life. Filled with the relentless seeking of the refuge of truth, in the refuge of truth, and doing the works of highest principalities, through enduring the life in the wisdom that is revealed from the Father, in his drawing near to you as you draw near to him. For that truly is what he desires most, for his children to hear the call and answer and say, Father, I've strayed for far too long. What have I done? What am I doing? This is surely death. And obey. Obey the wisdom that is revealed in that, in your ritualized humbling. For what is boast but just an attempt to fulfill some emptiness that you think you lack? Therefore, you mistake that you lack self-confidence. You must go out there and speak your truth. And that's what this person says. She's like, oh, I'm not just speaking my truth. I'm speaking fact. Science, 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 and people are dying.
Should not be a partisan issue. This is about.
But why are people dying? Well, because we surely are dying because we chose to have the knowledge of good and evil as our sustenance. And we're deceived once again. So, apparently, calling for action. You're saying this is not okay. There's people dying. But by whose hand?
About our constituents and all of our lives. Iowa, Nebraska, broad swaths of the Midwest are drowning right now, underwater. Farms, towns that will
and
never.
Of course, it won't be by anyone's hand because it's Gaia. But it's not by anyone's hand, but it's Gaia doing it to us as natural disasters because of climate change. So some boogeyman that you worship, but somehow it's not man's fault, but it's up to man to just turn around. But somehow it is man's fault because we're the relentless polluters, above all, destroyers of environment, this and that, and this and that. Right? So people might say, well, this person came, 40 years too late. She should have came in back when who knew that there was relentless women like this back in the supposed counterculture that you call bash hippieism, that just couldn't wait to tell you exactly what she's saying, but they did then. And like this guy said, they just went out to get corporate jobs, blah blah blah, marketing firms, and this are the elite that you say you want to bash and get rid of now. So those who lived in the era of the counterculture are those that you say should die and go, and just get off the planet so that you can come in and dish out your judgment. Wow. What are you saying?
Be recovered and never come back. And we're here and people are more concerned about helping oil companies than helping their own families? I don't think so.
I don't think so. You know why? I don't think so. You didn't go there. She couldn't wait. And just waving that finger. Right? And all the bash, SJWs do like, don't you know waving a finger is disrespectful? Shame. Even though it's their own kind. It's their own kind, but they won't criticize their own kind. They'll be like, oh, she's just pointing at the air. It's just your hand gesture when you speak. Right. I was once sitting across, I was on a table once, and I was speaking, and I was doing exactly what this person
I
is
don't
doing
think so.
with her finger, And boy, did I get an earful of why that was wrong. And it's like, they couldn't wait to point it out. They're like, do you know that you're, evoking some sort of oppressive, boss masculinity, boss, blah, blah, by just pointing? Uh, wow, it's just incredible, right? And not, but no, they won't do it to their own kind.
So, this is about our lives. This is about American lives. And it should not be partisan. Science should not be partisan. We are facing.
So she seems confused. She seems so baffled and just stirred up, right? It's all just confused. She's like, well, this should not, I don't think so. I don't think so. But somehow it is, and that's why she's huffing and puffing. So just because it doesn't go according to her doctrine, she's just like, I don't think so. I don't think so. And she's rounding up the forces to get behind her and just go out and smash with her. Because apparently she's right and everyone else is wrong. Because Guy is here to just be saved and somehow we're the front line.
Facing a national crisis. And if we do not ascend to that crisis.
Right? And not only Gaia, but now she made it personal, right? Because it's not enough to give you numbers of how carbon levels are rising up. Now she has to bring in the dying people. And she gave specific names of specific cities and this and that. She's like, why are people dying? You tell that to the people of this and there and there. Why are they all poisoned? Why? Right? And then, why wouldn't she mention, right? Oh, why are you killing off the parent, sick? Why are you killing off the people that you think should die? Well, because it's apparent survival of the fittest. Satanism, right? Dishing out who gets to live and die. And not even give vaccinating, killing them off in third world countries, right? Masking, tell them that they're going to live forever, and what? They drop dead 3 days later. And this and that, and this and that, and this and that, and that, and this, killing off children, starving them to death by just relentless abuse, of fraud in distribution, and this and this and that, and this and this, and just defiled worship, false doctrines, and false promise of light worship. That by worshiping hard enough and being in a meditative, state of bashhood, somehow you become enlightened and somehow nothing happens. Wow, amazing. Except the only thing that happens is you brainwash yourself to just become complacent and be grateful with whatever comfort you can come to get somehow in your own bash, new relative, method acting role that you have hashed out in your motive crisis.
If we do not ascend to the level.
Oh, she forgot her speech. She's like, oh, if we do not ascend, send. If we do not ascend, send. So who knew that she would stumble when she would say ascend? Because she's like, ascend, right? Are we going to heaven, everyone? Yes, we're going to blast through the sun to our galactic family and find a new Earth. No. A new Earth. A notion of a new Earth is only for the Father to bring forth. For it is man to endure life in the flesh. With the truth. That batteth away any attempt of temptation. And if you shall succumb to temptation, may it be on you, if you find it your way back or not. For surely the way paved to destruction is broad and wide, and many do tread on it. But the lifeline to the true promise of the true promise, those few rarely seek.
In which we were threatened at the Great Depression, when we were threatened in World War II, if we do not ascend to those levels, if we tell the
so if we do not ascend to the level of crisis of World War II or the Depression, we are doomed. Looking over to how am I doing on time? Looking over. Pointing. So she's pointing. So she's, stating some sense of dominance according to your own doctrine, trying to, bash, 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 bash.
The American public that we are more willing to invest and bail out big banks than we are willing to invest in our farmers and our urban families, then I don't know what we're here doing. I don't know what we're here doing.
She's confused. She has no clue what we're here doing. Because she doesn't it look like what exactly this guy said? He's like, well, when they become disillusioned, when they realize in practice what she's been preaching and what's actually being done, she's being sold out. Or soon will be, right, after the purpose of whatever she boasted and the rallied forces and the agitation and blah, 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 right? Or what's going on? Or you say, no, this guy's just bashed and this is real. So she's just doing it and it's amazing. Yay! Now Noam Chomsky can finally die because he can say, yay, we're finally getting it right. Right? And all these useful idiots like that other guy said, but who knew? No. For it's only the role of useful idiot that one plays. Yes. For it's a mechanism of identifying yourself to something. And that's what you supposedly are fighting for. Who knew you don't even need to fight? What is it that you're fighting? Exactly, you're fighting off God relentlessly. You couldn't wait. Who knew that that's the only war that has ever been? The doubt, right? The war against God. The doubt against God. But who knew that there is resolve in the Father's creation? Wherewith it would be revealeth how it is overcome by your works of higher principalities, right? Where you see that it's not about just fighting fire with fire, right? Because truly, exactly, you're exposed to the knowledge of good and evil. But what are you doing? Right, you're just saying action, 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 and just choose one side or the other and then smash the other. And smash, 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 smash. Just smash each other to pulverines, and blah, 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 blah. Fire and ice, fire and ice, fire and ice, fire and ice. Oh, choose your side. Choose your side. Right? Because surely it's this life is the synthesis of whatever past notion of good and evil, is it not? For surely what is it that you see? It's the sufferings of the world, right? There's a little good and bad, but I see it both. What is going on? So just because you see it, right? What is going on? Because surely is you live it, don't you? Meaning you ritualize, you behave, you do the actions, you actually ritualize it into manifestation. What is that? Is that not works? So based on what works, or based on what worship are your works? Because when people say, oh, you're based on your works, well, your works are your label, how many sick did you help, how many this, blah, blah, blah. You say, I did it all in your name. What? What name? Whose name? For what works? Based on what worship? Exactly. Know thyself and worship God. Not the God of light and love, whatever bash that means. No. The one true living God who giveth life, who had created the greatest gift, life everlasting, in the image of God, with God. Who knew? No, it couldn't be. No, 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 no. It just has to be us fighting for our right to somehow save ourselves. Come on, people, save ourselves. Let's save ourselves. Come on, let's save ourselves. Right, the beggar, the relentless beggar. But you say, "Whoa, there's so many poor out there. We just have to help the beggars." No, you don't realize that you are the ultimate beggar. Just because you're wearing some nice outfit and you think, "Oh, I'm a young female professional," or whatever bash you identify. This could be anyone. But whatever bash is out there thinking that they're bashing and just looking slick and blah 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 blah. Who knew? Rebel. They're still a rebel in disguise, right? A wolf in sheep's clothing. Why? Because they're pushing nothing. False wisdom, false causes, erroneous what? Exactly the wrong way. The wrong way to the true promise. All with substitute proxy false promises of action now and then reward later, hopefully. But we just have to try. We just have to try. You won't know if you don't try. You won't know if you won't try. You won't know if you don't try. You won't know if you don't try. You won't know if you don't try. All this bash doctrine. And you're like, "Oh, I'm just trying my best, people." And people are like, "Yeah, well, you're doing a great job. Yay, keep it up. Yay, yay." And everybody else is boasting while they do nothing. Just roll around in their filth, blah, 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 hope for the best, blah, 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 nothing. For surely it's to the point of no return. Surely 3 decades of indoctrination, of victimhood, and just promise of Gaia somehow being on the brink of death and you have to bring her back to life has already been in effect. 30 years have gone by where that surely has been the doctrine without challenge. And now when you say, "Oh, there's a little bit of challenge," because this person say, "There's deniers out there. There's deniers out there that say, the climate change and the environment isn't true." So this pastor say, "Whoa, no, not, that's why we have to come out full force." No, people are dying, right? Who knew people have been dying for decades since the whole, climate or the importance of health or cleanliness of some environment has ever taken hold. And who knew people have been dying since World War I and World War II? Who knew the deaths have been stacking, the corpses in number escalated, all for some just cause to pave the new way to the era of the golden era of false promise that you're basking in, that you were waitressing last year, and finally this year you got benefits, but somehow you're the poster image of some story of rags to riches and of some zero poor nothing to some bash influential position of power, and you're saying, "Yes, see, you guys could go out there and do it." Right, go ahead and try and realize the failure in that assumption. Who knew that this is a plant? Who knew that this is a person that was recruited? Right? Like this guy said, recruited, but you say, "No, that's not real. That guy's just talking nonsense." Who knew that these people are recruited and it's not by accident that they're put out there to do whatever is required of them to do? And they'll do it. They can't wait to do it. All while leaving you further confused, just looking at them by their bash image and this and that, and it's just you can't boast enough of like, "Wow, finally a female of such caliber, amazing." Wow, because apparently they don't exist and they've never existed. Wow, what a shame. And you'll be like, "Well, certainly not in a position of power, so shut up and this." Well, right. Well, misled. You don't think that they just choose to stay behind, closed doors until who knew? Like, who knew? Who knew? You think that people just want to be out there in the light? No, that's for the posh, people to wish and desire. For the true sorcerers, the true witches, the true manipulators, the true alchemists hide in the shadows. All while getting their doe-eyed, eager-eyed, useful idiots to go out and do their bidding for them. Because they don't want the fame, they don't want the public eye, on them. No, no, no. They'll just relentlessly groom them, feed them, blah, 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 give them everything, and steer them until they can bash on their own and probably groom somebody underneath them. All while being abused and being abused, blah, 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 blah. Amazing. Rags to riches. Oh, amazing. And that's why you say, yes, I follow because she is the living proof that it's possible. Yay. Right? So she's the perfectly packaged, novelty of fresh air that you say, yes, I still believe. I still believe in my system. I still believe in my country. I still believe, blah, 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 blah. And what this guy said, some bash patriotism. Oh, well, she's like, no, it's a patriarchy, but still believe in the system. About we just have to turn it inside out and just break it down from the inside out. Smashed. Not realizing that it's changing what? It's changing what? Only the belief of people in thinking that they're going out there bringing about some betterment in themselves and somehow of the situation. No, the situation is worsening. But you're even in defiance and in revelry to that. You're like, no, 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 it's getting better. Just give us a little time. I mean, come on. We've been oppressed for, thousands of years, so give us a little time. I mean, we've only all been in power for, a little while. Come on, come on. What do you expect? I mean, come on. Right? No, what a shame. The ways of the world will come and defile you. So, what is your refuge? What is your protection? And you say, my protection is my boast of what? And just to yell out, people are dying, right? Wow, that's your protection? That's how you're going to just get riled people against what? No. What? For truly, it's the truth. And you say, well, of course she's saying the truth. She's saying all these people are dying in all these places and blah. But why are they dying? And why are you saying only talking about it in this way now? Or why is this video somehow, making its rounds out there? For, all those, poison and flint, what, that happened back in what, 2015, 2014, even before? So what's going on? 4 years later, 5 years, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 30 years or whatever, bash. 1990, the first time the Bash plastic island was detected right off the coast of Bash, in the Pacific Ocean. Wow, since the 1990s. Wow, before then. And before then, the 60s, who promised you, whoa, freedom, peace, some utopia where no heaven or hell exists, and bash, 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 where you relentlessly draw vaginas and this and that. Whoa, amazing. What did that do? Nothing. You sold out. You went and just rehashed, refurbished, packaged because they were just imposters. They were the true witches, finally coming to the light, giving you some bash, superficial message, all while defiling you and groping you and defiling you in the darkness. And they shapeshifted, cut their hair, joined the corporate sector, and now you are embodiment of the lineage of that. Who knew? All thinking you're, somehow carrying the torch now forward. No, you're doing the same thing. Nothing has changed. Groundhog Day. Only the situation, according to you, is worsened. Well, worsened only because your immorality is in deeper denial. Well, that denial is not eternal. For even devils believe, even the devils acknowledge the Creator. Yet they still inspire for you to deny Him, deny the Creator. Bing, 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 bing. Exactly. Satan's soul count rising. And she is helping that cause. For surely, in boasting that people are dying, children are dying, right? What is she actually doing? What is she calling for? She's calling for more funding, more more support to education, more infrastructure to actually deal with the systems that are killing people and this and that. But how? Through more government, more programs, more funding, this, better pay, better everything, better blah, 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 all brought to you by the authority which you relentlessly beg and ask for conditions and privilege to live somehow easier and make reparations for all the deaths that they've caused and all the pains and suffering. Right? Really? Wow. Blind. Truly smashed in relativity. Boasting a cause, a righteous cause, and you, on your high unicorn. You won't get down from that high unicorn you relentlessly sit on because you're on cloud 9 of huff and puff. Who knew? Right? All in idealism because in practice you're in suffrage. Maybe not you personally because who knew that you rewarded and boast and this and that and doing their bidding. But you certainly promote using suffrage to further your agenda and further the self-preservation of the system that you're supposedly trying to, that you say you're trying to dismantle, but really is just perpetuity of the system. Yes. What a shame. Void of the notion of the true promise, sold out to rehash and try to manipulate, right? The promise that you can say you hold with your platform and your position. I'm just a public official and this and this and then I'll hold true to that and blah blah. That's my promise. Smashed.